Every government swears its money is safe. Every empire insists its promises will last forever. And every single time, history proves them wrong. From the Byzantine Empire to the modern banks of Lebanon, people have woken up to find their savings worthless and their future stolen by systems they believed were rock solid. Collapse isn't a rare anomaly. Collapse is the historical rule. The real question isn't if financial systems fail, it's how you protect yourself when they do. We look at our bank balances and our national currency and assume it's bedrock. It's not. Money is trust, and trust can vanish overnight. History leaves behind a brutal trail of lessons about what actually protects wealth and what evaporates into dust. The survivors of these disasters weren't the ones who trusted most. They were the ones who doubted first and acted on that doubt. In this video, we will travel through time, examining 7 catastrophic financial failures to reveal the 3 eternal assets that hold true value when the illusion of money collapses. Before we dive in, take 1 second, like this video, hit subscribe, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Lesson 1. The temptation to dilute. Byzantium. Let's start with the Byzantine Empire. For 1,000 years, their gold solidus coin was the closest thing the medieval world had to a global reserve currency, accepted without question across 3 continents. But the emperors couldn't resist the temptation. They started shaving its purity, mixing in cheaper alloys, debasing their money. At first, no one noticed. Then, trust cracked. The solidus, the anchor of Mediterranean trade, became just another piece of political fiction. The lesson? Governments cannot resist the urge to inflate or dilute their money. When they do, real value flees to assets they cannot counterfeit. The survivor's asset? Uncounterfeitable value. Hoarded pure gold, silver, or fertile land outside imperial reach. Lesson 2. Shocks and liquidity. The Black Death. Not all collapses are gradual debasement. Sometimes they are sudden shocks. In the mid-14th century, the Black Death struck Europe, killing up to half the population. Trade froze and villages vanished. Yet, the economic story is complex. When half the labor force disappears, labor becomes precious. Survivors with liquid assets, silver, easily tradable goods, or just the ability to work suddenly had leverage. Land that once cost a fortune was abandoned and could be bought for a fraction of its price. The lesson? Pandemics and sudden crises redistribute wealth instantly. Crises reward those with reserves and punish those without. The survivor's asset, liquidity and leverage. Cash, silver, or goods ready to deploy when others are forced to sell. Lesson 3. The lie of too big to fail. Florence banks. In Renaissance Florence, powerful banking families like the Bardi and Peruzzi financed kings. They were the original too big to fail. But when King Edward III of England defaulted on enormous war loans in the 1340s, the Florentine banks collapsed like dominoes. Ordinary citizens who had entrusted their savings to these mighty dynasties discovered that size was not safety and reputation was not protection. The lesson? Institutions exist to profit, not to guarantee your survival. When they fall, they will take your savings with them. Your bank deposit is a loan you've made to an institution, not a treasure chest. The survivor's asset? Institutional diversification. Assets held outside the local banking system or in truly tangible form. Lesson 4. Paper promises die. The American Civil War was a brutal financial experiment. The Confederacy, desperate for resources, printed greenbacks in staggering quantities. By 1865, Confederate inflation reached thousands of percent. Soldiers' paychecks were worthless before they could even be spent. Similarly, during the 1790s French Revolution, the new paper currency, the assignats, quickly became worthless after the government printed them with abandon. Farmers refused to sell food for paper, demanding silver or goods instead. The lesson: when trust breaks, paper money is always the first casualty. A nation's currency is only worth what others will accept it, and the survivor's asset is hard goods and property: land, food stores, gold, anything that cannot be printed. Lesson 5. The creditor always wins. Asian financial crisis. Fast forward to the 1997 Asian financial crisis. Thailand and other nations had borrowed heavily in dollars, confident their currency peg would hold. When speculative attacks caused the peg to collapse, their debt in foreign currency became instantly unpayable. Economies shrank, currencies lost massive value, and ordinary citizens saw their mortgages double overnight. This was a global transfer of wealth, where Wall Street institutions acquired Asian assets at fire sale prices. The lesson? Debt in someone else's currency is a death trap. When the storm hits, it isn't the creditor who drowns, it's the debtor. The survivor's asset: zero or minimal foreign debt, holding assets that aren't liabilities denominated in a foreign or volatile currency. Synthesis: the 3 pillars of survival. By now, the picture should be clear. Whether it's 14th century plague or 21st century bank freezes, the same themes repeat. Survival comes not from blind trust in paper, but from recognizing what holds real value when illusions collapse. History teaches us the 3 pillars of true financial survival. Pillar number 1. Uncounterfeitable assets: gold, silver, and land. These are tangible, finite, and cannot be inflated away by a central bank. Byzantium Civil War. Pillar number 2. Liquidity and position: cash and reserves held outside the fragile system. This is your defense against institutional risk, or Florence, Lebanon. And your offense, giving you the power to acquire assets at a fraction of their cost when others are forced to sell. Black Death. And pillar number 3 are productive skills, the ultimate assets. The most profound protection isn't just about what you own, it's about what you can do. The ultimate survivor: skills over money. The survivors of history weren't just the ones who had gold or property. They were the ones who could create value when others could not. The baker who could still provide bread, the craftsman who could repair tools, the farmer who could feed a community. These people didn't just survive collapses, they rose in them. In every crisis, money loses meaning, but production never does. People still need to eat, to build, to trade, and to live. Those who can meet these essential needs are never poor for long. That's the deeper protection, not the blind faith that governments will save you, but the combination of real assets, genuine liquidity, and durable productive skills. Every crisis is a transfer, from the many who trusted paper promises to the few who held something real. The question is not whether everything falls apart. It always does. The question is whether you will be holding promises or holding something real. Finally, if this gave you a new perspective on money and risk, hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss our next breakdown. And tell me in the comments, what skill will you focus on to recession-proof your life? Let's dive in.